In this video, I'm going to create an iterable class, so it is very helpful in many cases. I'm going to start. First of all, I'm going to create our class that will be called collection, and this class will iterate through a JavaScript array. It's important to say that you can do the same in a browser. You can follow those steps and you will get the same result. So then we need to say that this class will be iterable, and for that we need to use a JavaScript symbol, and to create that symbol we need to type this word, then dot iterator, and after those braces we need to put those parentheses. Then inside of this method that we've created, we need to return an object. Inside of this object we need to return the next function, and this is important because this function will say to JavaScript what is the next value that is gonna be iterated. And to do that, I'm going to set the value, and in this property we need to say which value is gonna be returned when the iterator is working. So I'm gonna say data. This variable is not still created. Well, I'm gonna create it very soon. So I'm gonna say that it is going to return the current index. I'm going to declare those variables, and they need to be declared inside of this symbol. So I'm going to create the variable index. Well, it's going to start at the first moment -1, because this is when the iterator is created. When this class is iterating, this variable is gonna be increasing. Then I need to create the variable data, which is gonna iterate. The data will contain the array, and our array will be called items. So I need to create a constructor for that. So I'm going to call it items. So in this constructor is going to receive an array, and we need to keep it in our class. So I'm going to say this dot items is equals to the items that the user passed me. So as you can see, in this index variable is passed here, but it needs to be increased each iteration. For that, I'm going to put plus plus inside of this data array. So that means each time that the next function is instantiated, the index will be increasing. So at the first moment will increase to 0, then 1, 2, so on. Then we need to say to this class when it needs to be stopped, because when the collection or the array is finished, we need to stop to prevent an error. So I'm going to say done will be executed when not the index is in the data. So that means, for example, if we have an array, first of all I'm going to fix this error because I need to put parentheses over here. So yes, for example, when if I have three elements in my array and the current index is 3, or it is gonna be stopped because the third index doesn't exist. Why? Because this is the 0 index, 1 and 2, but the 3 doesn't exist. In that moment, our collection will be stopped. I want to remove this comment. So let's test this collection. I'm going to create a new collection. Const collection, that will be new collection, and I'm going to type the items, for example A, B, C and D. Then I'm going to iterate through my collection to test that is working very fine. So I need to instantiate a for. I'm going to create a for in. I'm going to remove this help, and for const item in collection, I'm going to print item. So if I'm going to execute my implementation, and I get an error because it is not print, sorry for that, it's console.log. So let's try again, and item was printed. After looking for the error, I found that it is not in. We need to use off. I'm not pretty sure why, but if we use off in the for each, we can iterate through the elements, and as you can see, one of each element is iterated and printed in the console. So that means that we did our iterator very well, our collection. So this collection is very powerful because we can create another functions. For example, the function first, that it is going to return these items and the first element of the item, for example, and we can create more complex functions. For example, less than, the function less than, and we can that function could receive a letter, and we could say less than C, and it's going to return ABC, and even it can return another collection. So we can do something like that. Let's try, for example, after iterating this collection, we can say just console.log collection dot first, and if we print the collection is iterated, then the first element is printed. And for example, we can say count, and it is going to return the total elements of the list. So I'm going to say these items dot length, and if we say total, we just need to say collection dot count, and if we print this value, if we print or if we execute our file, as you can see, it says that there are 4 elements in our collection, and if we see our collection, that's true because we have just 4 elements here. This is very useful, for example, when we connect to an API, because usually we are going to receive a JSON file, so will be very easy to iterate over that JSON file. For example, we can receive an array of countries, I don't know, for example, name, mx, mx, another will could say name USA, and if we iterate, we are going to receive an object. And even more, maybe we can transform this object to another class, and we can handle in a better way this iteration. What does it mean? For example, I'm going to say my item, which is going to receive the current item, and it will be returned, return.item. So instead of returning the data, we are going to return the result of executing our function item with the current value. As you can see, this is the current value. If we execute this, as you can see, it's the same result than before, but this is very powerful because we can create, for example, another class called a number collection, which is going to extend collection, and we can override the item method, which is going to receive the current item, and we are going to return, for example, item plus item. So it is going to return the squared item. So if instead of instantiating new collection, we can instantiate number collection, and for example, in this array, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if we print the result, we can say that we are retrieving the squared number 149, because this 4 is because 2 per 2 is 4, 3 per 3 is 9, 4 per 4 is 16. So as you can see, this syntax is easy to read, so we can do a lot of things. For example, instead of return a primitive number, we can create another class called it number, and we could use constructor to receive the element, for example the item. I'm going to save that item, and we can create the method squared, which is just going to return item per item. So in this collection, for each item, instead of return the primitive value, we can return a new number, and we are going to pass the item argument. So in this if this item is a number, I'm going to rename it a number, so we can use the function square. And this syntax is very clean. So if we execute, I get an error, and this is because we need to say this item and this item. So as you can see, we have the same result, but we can say that we can check that if is paired, for example, we can start to create another useful functions that we need for our business logic. So this iteration is very, very cool. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope this is going to be useful for you. And if you want a second part, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching.